I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Join Karen Cullum, Greg Plaggio, and me as we take you to some of our favorite fishing spots from Colorado to Minnesota, the Arctic Circle to Central America and beyond, as we revisit episodes of Mountain States Fishing and Angling Adventures Television on the best of fishing with Terry Wickstrom.
I'm ready.
You know, folks, it really is difficult doing my job when you got to try to open a show with two guys like this, much less tell you about what we're going to do today. You probably recognize these guys, have been on the show many times before. Troy Coburn. Troy, I'd like to say it's great to fish with you, but we'll see at the end of the day. And Dave Rasmussen, you've seen Dave. We fished from Wisconsin to the Bahamas together. Dave's going to drive our camera boat today, and Troy kept telling me about the great smallmouth. Well, we know there's a great smallmouth bass fishery at Chatfield Reservoir, and you've been fishing it quite a bit, and I haven't, so you're going to take me out and try to show me where some of those big fish are.
Try to show you. I'll show you, but you got to catch them.
All right, we'll go out there. Probably catch some walleyes today, too.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
You know, Chatfield Reservoir, even though it's an urban fishery just a few miles from downtown Denver, has really turned into one of the premier fisheries in the state of Colorado, not only for numbers of fish, but quality fish, really good smallmouth and really nice walleyes. And we're going to target the smallmouth today, but because of the time of the year, we're here in April, the smallmouth are just beginning to spawn, or getting ready to spawn. They're not beginning,
they're just moving up into the shallows.
And the walleyes have finished spawning and they're moving out to feed in those same areas. So they're really kind of in the same locations, which will change during different times of the year. But let's just get out there before I blow this out trying to talk to you two guys, show them a little bit about Chatfield Reservoir and a good time fishing on a cold day in April in the middle of the night.
Oh, I haven't had my coffee yet either.
Oh geez, let's get out on the water, guys. Well, we're out here in the dark, that's why. Out here again with Troy Coburn, another morning bite. You know, I don't know how many times, Troy, you said people have actually said, you're the guy that's on Terry's show all the time, right? Gets you up at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch fish at noon. That's what fishing with Troy is, let me tell you right now. Camera people are not happy. Cold runs across the lake to fish for 2 hours before the bite starts. We don't get a fish early this morning. This will be on the show and Troy will be paying for it.
Oh, you kill me.
Make sure I am filming fish now.
Missed him.
Yeah. All right, Troy. Any size?
No.
It's a
Little bitty
walleye. You're a bass fisherman. What are you doing catching walleyes?
Caught him on accident.
I want everybody to see this, Mr. Bass Fisherman with a walleye. You know, a good chunky walleye, though.
He's a little guy.
You know what it shows, though? We've got great year classes, because when they do the spawn out here, they've got them up to 15 pounds, and then you got those year classes. It just shows you there's a great year class variety, and it's amazing the pressure this lake gets, that it can be one of the best walleye fisheries in the state.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish in here.
It really is.
A lot of fish in here.
We came out for smallmouth today, though.
I know, I'm trying.
All right.
Did you notice that fish was hooked on the outside of the face?
He struck at it and you got him with the...
Well, they're swiping at it. That's why
yeah.
we haven't been too successful today. It's just not a very good
It's early.
good bite.
Remember, it's 7:30. He said I had to be here at 6 o'clock. So we'll see when we really catch some fish, okay? So stay tuned for Mr. Early Morning.
Revelry, baby.
Oop, that was a good cast. Laughing at you and I slam my grub into the ground. You'll never see that on TV. There we go, on a grub. Oh,
On a grub.
This might be a smallie, the way it's pulling.
He's wanting to go straight down.
Yeah,
I bet it is a smallmouth.
Feels more like a smallmouth than a walleye, but sometimes those small walleyes will fool you.
Yeah.
They'll fight more than a big one.
I think. Oh, you got a.
It's a walleye.
You got a sucker.
Is it? Do I have a sucker?
That is a sucker. How do you catch a sucker on a grub?
Yeah, it is a sucker.
It's a white sucker. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah,
That's a big one.
I got a sucker. I've never caught a sucker at Chatfield before. It's strong. I'll tell you what, it's fun.
The way he was pulling, I thought you had a big smallie.
Yeah, I did too. This is when you're a big television star like me, you come out after smallmouth and walleyes. That's what you catch at Chatfield Reservoir. Hey, but you know what? It was a better fight than you had.
Well, that's true. That's true. But
I didn't even
isn't
know
there
there
a
were...
saying that says you are what you catch?
Watch it. I didn't even know there were suckers in here. Not like that. That's big.
That is a big sucker.
Well, I guess we'll put them back. I didn't even know. Well, we're out after smallmouth. We got walleye and suckers so far.
All right. We're going to do the Grand Slam today.
You know, in all honesty, you can catch really big trout out here at Chatfield. There's tremendous walleye and smallmouth fishing. There's a population of perch that's not what it used to be, but you can still catch some. Just a diversity of fish in this lake, there really is.
Yep.
And it's right in the metropolitan area. You know, a lot of the people, they go to Spinney to catch big trout. There's some huge trout because the forage base has really taken off here at Chatfield. And because of that, sometimes the fishing gets a little tough. But man, you never know when you're going to catch a big fish out here. There's some, how big would you say the biggest smallmouths that have come out of here? 22 inches probably?
Oh, there's 5-pound smallmouth in here. They get so much pressure. I just had a hit. They get so much pressure that they can be difficult to catch. But there's, look at there, bit my tail off my grub.
Yep. And there's also some really big walleyes. I'm talking walleyes in the 15-pound range. You're not going to catch those kind of fish every time, but there's enough year classes of smallmouth and walleyes that you can come out here and have a great time catching fish, be in a metropolitan area and have the opportunity to catch as big a fish as you could anywhere in the world at almost any time.
Right.
So, and right, you know, 5 miles from...
Yeah, there's world-class walleye in here.
And state record smallmouth probably.
Probably.
And I'm not going to catch one talking to you, so I'm going to get my line back in the water. By the way, my fish was bigger than yours.
Excellent.
There we go.
That's a walleye.
Yep. Could tell by the pull. At first I thought it was a weed because it had that duh.
Yeah.
Then it kicks a little bit. Not a big walleye, but just a nice starter fish for me for a game fish.
There you go. See, he's hooked on the outside of the
they're
face too.
They're swiping at him.
They're
and
not
they're just,
eating.
They're not eating. They're swiping at him. Yeah, he's hooked. They're more hitting out of aggression than eating. They're swiping at it
Right.
and getting caught outside the mouth. But, you know, it's just a nice, healthy Chatfield walleye. Nice year class, nice, healthy. It's going to be a lot of walleyes in this lake for a long time. But I've caught the walleyes by myself here. I don't need you for this. No, it's serious. This is what a great lake to fish, because that's the nice thing about fishing grubs too.
Sure, you can catch anything on it.
Anything that swims. Well, I'm just fishing a little 3-inch curly tail grub, and just crawling along the bottom. You're liable to catch a walleye. I caught a sucker. We're sure we're going to catch some smallmouth, and it's just a great way to fish and have a good time. And you might even catch a big trout. You hooked up?
Yep.
All right.
Another walleye.
Another walleye.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Here he comes.
There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go, folks.
That's a nice walleye.
There's a nice walleye for you.
Couple 3 pounds.
I know. Yeah, sorry about that. You know, it just shows you the quality. Once again, you know, I talked about the year classes of walleyes in this lake earlier, and it just
Thank you.
shows you the quality of fish you can get here. You know, walleyes are done spawning, 22-inch fish. I think we'll keep one for the frying pan. Do you think that'd be a good idea?
Sure. One fish would be fine.
But I'll tell you what, we really haven't been out that long. I've given him a hard time. It's early yet, but we've only been fishing for maybe a half an hour. We've got 3-4 fish already. We're having a good time, and we haven't even really got in what we came for. But
Right.
fishing, we just started out with crankbaits, and the fish just weren't active enough to chase it. And so we're going to the grub, a little more subtle presentation, but we're
Right.
also out here on a Sunday. And it could be that, you know, Dave, our camera boat driver, said that there was just, 100 boats here Saturday.
Yeah,
These fish
it
may
gets
have
beat
got
up.
beat up, and that crankbait may be too aggressive a presentation.
Sure.
Maybe not that the fish aren't so aggressive, it's just that maybe they've seen so many lures that we need a more subtle presentation to kind of fool them. And there's nothing more natural than that little natural colored grub on a plain lead head jig. It's
Yep.
just, it could be almost anything. I'll show you that, get it out of here and give the folks a look at it. I've got a unpainted jig head, a smoked sparkle grub. And what this does, it could be a minnow, it could be a crawfish, it could be just about anything, but there's no negative signals on this. If I had a chartreuse grub or the big crankbait, there's some unnatural signals. Put this in the water, it just looks natural, and that's why you can catch almost anything that swims.
Pulled my skirt down.
Yeah, and he's an unpainted jig with kind of a, I'm trying to think of the color there. I'm going a pumpkin or...
It's called dark pumpkin is the exact
pumpkin
color.
colored grub.
Yeah.
So natural colors of browns and grays.
Crawdad pattern.
There we go.
Little smallmouth.
Yeah, I don't think it's very big, but boy, they're feisty, aren't they?
Yeah, they're angry.
Yeah. There you get them. Not a big one, but we broke the ice and finally got a smallmouth, what we came out here for. A little one, but it gets us started on the smallmouth. By the way, that's what a bass looks like. Mr. Bass Fisherman.
That was bait.
It wasn't very big. You know the neat thing about smallmouth though, especially, you know, it's tough fish. Ooh, you never hooks up unless I'm on camera already. Get him in, let's get him in. You know, is it good fish?
Yeah, it's a big smallmouth.
Oh, all right, good deal. Get him up here. Oh, a nice smallie. Oh, beautiful smallmouth. Beautiful. It's almost as big as the one I had. Wait, oh, there we go. That's the one we're looking for. Way to go. You know what? I got to say, way to go, sir. And I was going to say, the neat thing about smallmouth, especially later in the summer when they're going, when you're not catching big ones like this, you
took it deep, too.
You can catch a bunch of little ones and have a good time.
Yeah.
The smallmouth, they're so prolific and the small ones are so active. You just won't let me get ahead of you, will you? But that's the kind of small, and this is what we're talking about in a metropolitan fishery, folks. Quality fish. Let me see that a minute. It's like pretend like I caught it. This is what we're talking about. You can fish 5 miles from downtown Denver and get smallmouth like that, and numbers of them. And this isn't even a big one for here.
No, well,
it's a nice.
Yeah,
that's a good smallmouth anywhere you fish.
Right.
But there's a potential to catch one even twice his size.
Oh,
here.
definitely.
But that's you know what? I fish smallmouth all over the world. There's nothing wrong with that anywhere.
No.
Did I catch this? Oh, that's right.
I'll let you let it
that
go.
That was yours.
Be my guest.
All right. We'll get him back in the water so he'd be here for somebody else. Hey, way to go. I want to say something too about the smallmouth fishing. There's a 15-inch limit here that what you can keep.
Right.
But you know, there's trout and there's walleyes that are really good eating fish in this lake.
Yep.
And smallmouth fishery should be a recreational fishery here, really.
It should, and there's the main reason for that is because the state very rarely ever stocks smallmouth or largemouth bass because they're so successful in reproducing naturally.
Exactly.
The state constantly is stocking trout and walleye, and so to harvest a few of those, again,
yeah, don't be a pig, but if you want
can eat,
take a few to eat.
Don't be filling your freezer.
But we have this pressured lake in a metropolitan area. If
Right.
you return those fish to the water, they're going to be here for the next guy. The one you saw us put back is here for you to catch. And
That's
I mean,
right.
if you get a state record or something, I understand that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A guy taking that. But
Sure.
there's a lot better eating fish. Not that bass aren't good eating, but I wish they wouldn't.
Bass don't taste very good.
Yeah, but there's there's walleyes are delicious. There's great trout in here. The trout are put in here to put and take. The walleyes are stocked. They don't really reproduce here, and they get to a certain size. Harvest a few and eat them, but put those smallmouth bass back, and we'll all have great fishing.
Especially release the bigger fish.
Oh, exactly.
If you do want to keep a bass, keep the 15-inchers. But if you catch an 18-incher, that's good gene pool. You want that fish to reproduce.
All right. Well, I got to get back in the water. Did he swim towards you with the grub?
Yeah,
Is that what
I
he did?
kept trying to catch up to my bait. I couldn't feel my bait, and then I realized what was going on.
Yeah, this is the true bass fishing, great bass fisherman. He's trying to reel his lure in. It's coming at him fast as he can reel it in, and he realizes a fish has got it in his mouth swimming towards him. Have you seen him yet?
Yeah,
Nice fish?
yeah.
Bending that rod, that's for sure. Oh, that's a quality smallmouth.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm going to need crawdad pinchers.
Crawdad pinchers. He switched to a tube because of crawdad pinchers, and he put on a tube very similar in color to the crawdad. And you can see parts of the crawdad in the gullet the same color as that tube.
I'm just gonna let him go.
All right.
Boy, he ate it too.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Oh, not as big as the last couple you caught, but a nicer fish than the one I caught before.
Smallmouth?
Yeah. Oh, I love the way they fight. You know, for their size, maybe a wiper is the only stronger fish.
Yeah, they're little bulldogs, aren't they?
Oh, jeez. He's not done either. Not a huge one, just a nice smallmouth. Here we go.
There you go.
You know what?
Fun
I'll
size.
fish all day and take fish smallmouth like that anytime.
Yeah, they're so fun to catch.
They are. And you know, fishing with the soft plastics the way we are, I still just love the fact that I can be right here, just inside, just on the edge of a metropolitan area and catching nice quality fish like that.
A lot of times the smallmouth.
Oh yeah.
When they
I don't know how
school
many
up.
times I've caught a smallmouth and had more follow and have the guy with me cast
Yeah,
right there and catch them.
yeah, definitely.
That can be just awesome. Nice,
Just
another quality fish. You know, the thing is all day long. That very first one I caught was a little bitty one, but other than that, they've been quality fish.
Right.
Quality
Yeah.
fish.
Some nice little fish. And just fat little fish getting ready to spawn here in another couple of weeks.
I tell you, it's so much fun. You know, isn't it great to have a location where you can just come out close to home like this and catch this kind of quality
Oh, heck
fish?
yeah, I love it.
It's awesome.
It beats that 100 and some odd mile drive down to Pueblo, that's for sure.
You know, Troy, we're gonna have to call it a day here pretty soon. There's weather moving in, and you got me up at middle of the night to come out here, so I'm not staying out here through the rainstorm. Actually, we caught a whole bunch of fish today.
We did, had a great day.
And some nice fish, nice walleyes, nice bass. And we're gonna get out of here in time for a late lunch
Okay.
on a Sunday and go home, and I'm gonna watch a ball game on TV and have a good time. But I think we should tell people a little bit about the equipment we used. You don't need a lot of special equipment to do this fishing, but probably jig fishing, you need better equipment than maybe you would for something else, because
Sure.
you need a sensitive rod.
You do.
And that's,
You
you
do.
know, if I was going to spend money on one of the rods I own, if versus you used a bait caster to throw your jig some, and you also used a bait caster to throw your crankbait.
Right.
But whatever rod I fish soft plastics with, I always spend a little more money and get a high modulus rod.
Right. Sensitivity is incredibly important with a bait like that.
It really is, because you got to be able to feel what's going on, and not only feel the fish, but when we're casting, we're feeling the rocks, we're feeling the weeds, we're watching it drop off. You're really in tune with the bait. So you can fish, you can take a medium spinning rod of any kind, 6 or 8 pound test, and you can do this. You'll be a lot more successful if you spend a little money on a good rod for the soft plastics.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely would agree. Like for instance, today we found some bottom structure that was mud,
Right.
and we didn't catch anything in that. What we had to find was the pea gravel, or the chunk rock.
Right.
And with a sensitive rod, you can feel that. You can tell that it's gravel as opposed to just a mud bottom.
Exactly.
And then the bite was subtle on a few of the fish today. And you need a sensitive rod to feel the bite.
Right, because the first time, you know, one tip I'll tell people when you're fishing this kind of thing, cast it out, move the bait with the rod, and then reel the slack. Don't try to reel to move the bait, because I'm not good enough, I don't know if you are, to feel that what that rod tip's
Right.
doing while I'm moving my hand on the reel. You just
Right.
can't do it.
Right.
So you move the bait with the rod, and then you reel up the slack. You spend a little time and get confidence in soft plastics, and even in tough conditions like today, you can be successful.
Right.
Now, a couple things we did. Why don't you grab that other rod you got down there and
Okay.
show them? When at times when we weren't locating fish and we were in shallower flats, we'd go to a crankbait type rod, or a stick bait, or a jerk bait. Now, these are suspending baits this time of the year. You could use ones that float to the surface and have a more aggressive action. Cold water, not the right bait. We did out here is these, you cast them out, they go down, and when you pause and they just suspend right there, that's normally when the hit comes.
Correct.
When you stop. You can get by with a little less expensive rod here. In fact, a softer rod's a little better, gives them
Right.
time to inhale the bait.
Right.
But you need a good reel to cast it with and get them out. So that's the kind of equipment. Now we use those two types of lures. The only other lure I want to show them that we did use today, and I'll let you hold that for just a second.
Okay.
We started out with a lot of soft curly tail grubs, and we caught a lot of walleyes and caught some smallmouth. The bite kind of died, and we thought maybe that curly tail grub was a little too much action. Switched over to tube baits, where you can just move these slower and you get the subtle movement of the tentacles instead of that curly tail aggressive action. Ended up catching a few bigger fish and a few more fish, helped us end the day.
Right.
And so that's something to keep in mind. Fish that very similar, jig head inside. So even though you don't need a lot of special equipment to come take advantage of this, you do need the right things to come and do it. But there's no reason, if you want to spend some time out on a lake like Chatfield, if there's one near you, or if you live in the Denver area, Chatfield, that you can't come out and enjoy this fishery.
So close to home.
It really
It's a beautiful
is.
thing.
I'll tell you what, no matter what kind of fishing gear you did have or how often you get out to fish, if you live by a lake like this or if you live in Denver and you're near Chatfield, get out and take advantage of this fishery and join us next week on Mountain States Fishing.
That,
You know, smallmouth will do that to you.
did you
won't
see
they?
the leg kick too?
You know,
No.
don't you think smallmouth are as fun as they are to catch?
That was
They
a
will,
thought, too.
they will tease you, pick you up, drop you, and you'll miss them, bite the tail off your jig more than any.
Well-
They're just, usually it's the smaller ones, but
Yeah, I swordmouthed that one though. I stuck it. I stuck him. He was on there for about a half a second.